Time for the 97.5 Black Book Review. With me in the studio this afternoon, Cedric Boyd, the author of The Good Wolf. Good afternoon and welcome, my brother.
Hey, thank you, Leon. Appreciate it.
You're very welcome. You know, I came across your book while thumbing through the internet, and I landed on the SAC Cultural Hub webpage, and they had a piece about The Good Wolf. I'd like you to get our audience introduced to yourself, how long you've been in the game, is this your first book, and then tell us about the book.
Okay, Leon, my name's Cedric Boyd. I've worked for the Yolo County Probation Department for about 15 years. I really enjoyed it. I went to college, played a little basketball, ran track. Enjoyed my years. I went to school at Missouri State. Graduated in the 90s, early 90s.
Okay.
I won't get into my age. But
when did you get into writing?
Well, my mother was working on a book called Sex Out of Wedlock.
Okay.
And
so your mother's an author?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it kind of runs in the family?
Yes, sir. Yeah, she was working on Sex Out of Wedlock. It was a story about how she met my father and the circumstances around it. And she was having a lot of problems with it. She was having some writer's block. So she asked me to pitch in, and I helped her, and we completed it, and there was some really, really good feedback, and it came really easy to me.
Really?
Yeah, it's nothing that I really tried to ever do. I always wanted to be a professional athlete, but I hurt my hip, and God.
So you're a natural storyteller.
I am a natural storyteller. Yes.
How did your mom's book do with you co-writing?
It did well. The sales were a little slow because it's tough with the marketing and stuff, but the response of the folks that read it absolutely loved it. So I said, well, let me give it a crack, because my mother was always encouraging me to write. I wrote something in 8th grade about a turkey, like the inside of a turkey or something.
I think I wrote that same story in the 8th grade.
and the teacher told my mom that I described the inside of a turkey better than anybody she'd ever seen.
Really?
And I should be a writer. And, I told her I wanted to play professional basketball. I didn't want to write. I didn't want to do that. So I guess she was right, because I'm not in the NBA. So
well, I guess she was right for me, too, because my turkey, it actually came from Planet X.
Yeah.
And I was kind of discouraged. Anyway, Anyway, fast forward, you write through the and come out with a book called The Good Wolf.
Yes, sir.
What's The Good Wolf all about?
The Good Wolf is about a guy that he looks great on paper. He has money, he has women, he has good job, he's a good.
He's living the good life.
Yeah, but
from the outside.
Absolutely, yeah, but he's lacking a lot. He's lacking the point of it all. You know what I mean? The purpose of it all. And he's struggling with stuff. And when you see somebody that appears to have it all, you don't know what's going on at home,
Or vice versa, if they don't have it all together,
Exactly.
You never really know.
You're making that assumption.
True.
And
someone once said that we see life not as it is, but as we are.
Yes. That's great. That's awesome, Leon. That makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. So
we never really know what somebody else's life is like, or what they're going through at any particular time. Yeah. But in The Good Wolf, you kind of unfold what this guy is all about.
Absolutely. Absolutely. He's got some emotional issues. He's got some things going on. What it really inspired me to write it was I lost my father in 2011, and we're very, very close. He was a great dad, but he kind of struggled a little bit in the husband department. He's just a man. That's just the truth.
Okay.
That doesn't mean I don't love him. That means I don't respect him, but I try to see things honestly. I thought about like how his life went and how my life was going and the progression of it all. And I've seen so many brothers that not only do not have their father, but, there's always a caveat with their dad. Like, I love my dad, and I love my dad, but he kind of did this and that. And I was like, I don't want to be that kind of man. I don't want any but in the conversation, I love my dad, but he wasn't really that good to my mom. I love my dad, but he was, you know what I mean?
Gotcha.
And I'm trying to eliminate the but. I've seen that a lot and the cycle of men, not just black men, but men in general. I recently went to my 25-year reunion for my fraternity in Missouri State, and a lady I hadn't seen in about 22 years, she buried her father. It was just a coincidence that she happened to be in town. We were sitting and talking, and she was talking about how she loved her father, but you know, the women were more important, and the this and the that, and she took care of him the last month of his life, and by the end of the month, she literally had to feed him.
Mm-hmm.
That's how broke down he was. Like, he literally could not pick up the fork, and he was in tears, and you could just see the regret and stuff in his eyes. And I was like, if this book can stop this pattern of, you know, feeding the flesh all the time and not remembering
putting
what's
conditions,
important.
conditions on your relationship.
Absolutely. And as soon as it's uncomfortable for you, you leave, or as soon as somebody doesn't, you know, rub your back that day or something, that you go find some other woman, or you go, you know, and it's just been a pattern for men that I've seen for years, and it always ends up very tragically. It ends up with, you know, you dying alone in an old folks home, and you know, you've had 3 wives, and you know, it's just, and then when they're laying on the bed, I see all this regret. You know, my stepfather went through that. I've seen a lot of men, because I'm 46 now, so I've seen this pattern continue, and I was like, I want to be a source that maybe stems this a little bit. You know.
So it sounds as though you had an epiphany.
Yes.
And the light went off, and it's like, hey, you know what? I want to shine a light in this area and actually change some behavior.
Yes, yes. And what's odd is, what I've found is, the men gravitate towards my lead character, Randall Whitmore. They gravitate towards Randall Whitmore because it seems like he's really living great, but the women are able to see the loneliness and the pain in the character, you know, and that's part of the problem.
I think it's nice that you offer up the intuition aspect of women.
Right.
Because they seem to have that 6th or 7th sense.
They absolutely get it, yeah. And the older the woman is, the more they're like, oh, wow, he's alone every night, and he's, you know, they're working through it, and they're like, wow, I really see the pain in this guy. And the men are like, wow, this guy is, you know, he's having a ball, man. You know, and it's just been interesting, the contrast, because in art, you don't know how people are going to respond to it. You don't know. You may have wanted it to go one way, and they see it completely different. Just like Gordon Gekko in Wall Street. You know, Oliver Stone wrote him. He was supposed to be a bad guy, but then all these guys wanted to be Gordon Gekko. You know, it's just odd, like the intent. And I think as an artist, you're not responsible for the intent. You know what I mean? On how they respond to it. You're not your job is to put it out, you know, and lay it out there, and then let people respond however which way they feel.
Like a poem.
Know, absolutely.
Hold that thought. This is the 97.5 Black Book Review. For those of you just joining us, I'm talking with the author of The Good Wolf, Cedric Boyd, on 97.5. You offer in the book the conflict, the main character's conflict.
Yes.
And then there is some conflict resolution and then a resolve.
I've written a sequel.
You've written a sequel?
I've written a sequel. It's called Randall Whitmore. That's the lead character's name. And when I wrote The Good Wolf, I intended it on being one book. But there was so much information that I had to get in, and I didn't want to chop it down and put it into one book. I wrote another one. And it's called Randall Whitmore. And all the conclusions from The Good Wolf will be in Randall Whitmore. So it's kind of a 2-parter.
Now, would I be giving too much away if I ask you to explain to us why the title is The Good Wolf?
There's an old Cherokee tale about how you're always struggling between your good side and your bad side. So the grandfather explains it to the grandchild. He says, inside you there's 2 wolves, and one is greedy and angry and thirsty and needy, and the other one is kind and considerate and loving. And one day these two wolves get in a fight, and the grandchild asks him, well, which one would win? And the grandfather said, well, whichever one you feed. So the cover of the book, it says The Good Wolf, like my shirt.
Okay.
But it has a very ominous wolf on the cover.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're getting the contrast where Randall is struggling between his good wolf and his bad wolf, and he wants to do the right thing, but sometimes he does not do the right thing, just like all of us. And that flesh gets in the way, and, like what we want, what we want to do and what we should do are generally two different things.
And life happens.
Yeah, absolutely. So he has to deal with that. He has to grow from that, and we all understand that growth is painful.
I don't know if this is the first I've heard of the sequel to The Good Wolf, but have you at all entertained the possibility of this being a movie? I know it doesn't have a lot of, blow up things happening, but on a cerebral level, it's a good story. Yeah, Leon. It's people are really after me. They want me. Like I could magically make a movie appear. They're like, well, when is it going to be a movie, Cedric? This is too good. It has to be a movie. And I'm like, well, I would love for it to be a movie, but I don't have $9 million to pull out of my pocket, right.
And plus, also, Leon, I need sales. So when I do go to a movie studio, I have some weight behind me.
Speaking of sales, the second annual Sacramento Black Book Fair is coming up Friday, June 5th at the Guild Theater with a panel discussion on the Black Arts Movement and the Voting Rights Act. And the event continues Saturday and Sunday, June 6th and 7th, with a lot of events at several venues in the heart of historic Oak Park, and it's all free. Now, Cedric, you got to let me know at the second annual book fair, which one of those 3 dates are you going to be there? And
I'll be there Saturday and Sunday, Leon. I have a booth. I'll set up a tent, and you're welcome to come over. If you've already bought the book, The Good Wolf, because a lot of people have bought it, I'll sign it for you. I'll take pictures. The response has been really insane how much people really love this book. It's very intense. It's for adults. It's for 18 and over, because I speak frankly and honestly. Some of the content is adult content, so I would not sell it to anyone under the age of 18. I may sell it to their parents and let them make the decision if it's appropriate for them. But it was raw. It was real. And I think that's why it connected so well with people, is that it's very, very honest. It's brutally honest.
This is the 97.5 Black Book Review. I'm talking with Cedric Boyd, author of The Good Wolf, and the sequel.
Yes, Randall Whitmore.
And the sequel, when will that be out?
The sequel is out, but it's out on ebook right now.
Okay.
Everything's available at Amazon. I did have some at Dimples, but fortunately I sold out. So that was awesome, and maybe eventually I'll get some more back in Dimples on Arden.
But for those of you that haven't picked up the book yet, be sure you attend the second annual Sacramento Black Book Fair, and that's happening June 5th, 6th, and 7th at the in Oak Park, in historic Oak Park, and it's absolutely free. So it's a good opportunity to meet Cedric Boyd, author of The Good Wolf, and guest here at the 97.5 Black Book Fair. I appreciate you stopping in. I wish we had more time.
Thank you, Leon. I appreciate it. And a great intent of the book is that I got brothers reading, and I was really, I had to pull their leg, but I got them reading, and they love it. So
that's a good thing.
Absolutely.
Something they can relate to. This is the 97.5 Black Book Review. I'm talking with the author of The Good Wolf, Cedric Boyd, on 97.5.